Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into the enchanting world of orchids. If you've ever thought these stunning flowers were too tricky to grow, think again. Growing orchids is a truly rewarding experience. A beautiful blend of patience, care, and observation that blossoms into a quiet art right in your home. These exotic beauties, symbols of grace and elegance, are much more accessible than you might believe, and I'm here to show you how anyone can cultivate them successfully. Our journey begins with choosing the perfect orchid for you. There are thousands of species out there, but for beginners, I highly recommend starting with the ever-popular Phalaenopsis, also known as the moth orchid. They're super friendly and tolerant. Other great options include Dendrobium and Cattleya. Each type has its own little quirks regarding light, water, and temperature. But Phalaenopsis are fantastic because they thrive in typical indoor conditions and can bloom for months on end. They really are the perfect starting point for any budding orchid enthusiast. Once you've picked your new leafy friend, creating the right environment is absolutely crucial. Remember, orchids aren't like regular plants that grow in soil. In nature, they're epiphytes, meaning they cling to trees, soaking up nutrients and moisture from the air and rain. Because of this, their roots need to breathe. So skip the regular potting soil and opt for a special orchid mix. Usually a blend of bark, sphagnum moss, and perlite. And definitely choose a pot with excellent drainage. Clear plastic pots are a personal favorite of mine because they let you peek at those roots and easily monitor their health and moisture levels. Now, let's talk about light, another super important ingredient for happy orchids. They absolutely adore bright, indirect sunlight. Think of a cozy north or east-facing window. It's the sweet spot where your plant gets that gentle morning light without being scorched by the intense afternoon sun. A little trick: if your orchid's leaves are a really dark green, it might be craving a bit more light. But if they start turning yellowish, it's probably getting too much. Finding that perfect balance is all part of the fun and learning process in orchid care. Watering orchids correctly is a big one, and honestly, it's where most people make a common mistake: overwater. Orchids actually prefer to dry out slightly between waterings. A good rule of thumb is to water once a week during warmer months. When it cools down, you can usually stretch that to every 10 to 14 days. Always use room temperature water and let it run completely through the pot, making sure there's no water pooling at the bottom. Some folks also like to give their orchids a light misting, especially if your home environment is a bit on the dry side. Temperature and humidity are also key players in keeping your orchids thriving. Most orchids are happiest with daytime temperatures between 20 degrees Celsius and 27 degrees Celsius. That's about 68 degrees Fahrenheit to 80 degrees Fahrenheit, and slightly cooler nights. They also really appreciate a bit of humidity, ideally around 50 to 70%. A simple way to create this little microclimate is to place your potted orchid on a tray filled with pebbles and a bit of water. Just make sure the bottom of the pot isn't directly sitting in the water itself. This little setup creates a humid bubble around your plant. To help your orchid truly shine and give you those gorgeous blooms, feeding it is essential during its growing season. Use a balanced orchid fertilizer, but here's a pro tip. Always dilute it to half strength. You can feed your orchid every 2 to 4 weeks. Once the blooming period is over, you can reduce the feeding until you see new growth starting to emerge. Finally, a bit of pruning and repotting will keep your orchid healthy and vigorous. After those beautiful blooms fade, you can trim the flower spike just above a node to encourage new buds. Or, if you prefer, cut it all the way down to allow the plant to rest. Repotting is usually needed every 1 to 2 years, especially when the growing medium starts to break down or the roots have clearly outgrown their current home. Ultimately, patience is your best friend when growing orchids. Their beauty isn't something that can be rushed. It unfolds slowly and majestically, truly reflecting the harmony between nature and your loving care. With a little attention to light water and a whole lot of love, your orchid will absolutely reward you with elegant blooms that serve as a beautiful reminder that nature's finest treasures often come to those who wait and nurture. Thanks so much for joining me on this orchid adventure. I hope you feel inspired to bring these amazing plants into your home. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe for more plant-tastic content. Happy growing, everyone!